In this video, we're going to be going over facts that you don't know about Valkyrie. Marvel Comics version of Valkyrie, otherwise known as Brunhilde, made it into the MCU during Thor Ragnarok, and it left many fans wondering, who is she again? Valkyrie has deep roots in Norse mythology, making her one of the oldest characters in the Marvel timeline, historically speaking. Brunhilde was the leader of the Valkyrie and was chosen to be a shield maiden by Odin himself, and her job was to escort the dead to Valhalla. Valkyrie is an important person, and she is distinguished by her strength and her refusal to be seen as anything less than equal to her male peers. But let's go ahead and talk about some stuff to do with her that you might not have known, shall we? Number 1. Did you know that Valkyrie is able to sense death in a way? She doesn't know when somebody's about to die, and there isn't usually anything she can do to stop it from happening, but she can sense it. She has the ability to sense impending death and doom, and it is known as a death glow. As well as this, her main job was to escort the dead to Valhalla, but she didn't have to take the bridge and travel like other people, because she could instantly teleport herself and any dead people nearby straight there at will. Number 2. If you paid attention during Thor Ragnarok, you'll probably know this, but Valkyrie is the last of the Valkyrie. Odin made a deal with the Celestials, which meant that the Valkyrie weren't allowed to have any contact with Earth. This made Valkyrie very upset, and she didn't take very kindly to what Odin did, so she decided to leave Asgard because of it. She ended up turning to Amora the Enchantress for help, but things didn't go as planned because she was evil. The Enchantress trapped Valkyrie's soul into a crystal for a couple of hundred years. In the meantime, the remaining Valkyrie were killed in a massive war between Odin and Hela. Soon after, Odin restored the Valkyrie back to life, but only within the walls of Valhalla. Because of this, Valkyrie was then tasked with finding new Valkyrie, something that she didn't do. Instead, she ended up teaming up with Misty Knight and formed the Fearless Defenders, a team made up of half the women in the Marvel Universe. Number 3. For anybody who doesn't already know, Ultimate Marvel was an imprint of Marvel Comics featuring reimagined versions of most of the characters seen within the comics. It originally existed as its own separate thing, but eventually the Ultimate Universe merged with the real Marvel Universe at the end of Secret Wars. A few people actually complained about it, but not a lot because there were some pretty good ideas. However, the Ultimate Valkyrie was not a great idea. In her first appearance, she was a teenage valley girl with no superpowers. But she would act like she had powers, joining the equally as terrible Ultimate Defenders. After all this, she was given some actual powers and a sword and kicked some people's butts, but to say the least, the ultimate version of Valkyrie was just not good. Number 4. Valkyrie's sword was actually made from a dragon's tooth, which is a pretty great piece of information within itself. Many Asgardians are known for having crazy weapons, and Valkyrie does not disappoint. She is one of the greatest fighters in all of Asgard, and to go along with her fighting skills, she has a sword. As well as this, she also has an iron spear and a flying horse named Aragon as well. Her sword was named Dragonfang, and it was carved from the tooth of a dragon. Originally, the sword belonged to the Ancient One, but it was passed on to Doctor Strange, who then gave it to Valkyrie. Number 5. It turns out that Valkyrie's closest friend is Hellcat. The two first met as members of the Defenders in the 1970s, and even shared an apartment together in later issues as well. Even when their version of the team disbanded, Valkyrie and Hellcat continued to stay in touch, and they remained the best of friends since. Number 6. Valkyrie has done so many things in her life, but did you know that she has actually been known as other women over the past years? First of all, she was known as Samantha Parrington. As I said earlier, the Enchantress trapped her soul, but after this, she transferred her essence into Samantha Parrington and used her as a puppet to fight Hulk. Second, she was known as Barbara Norris, who was Valkyrie's mortal host for a section of the 1970s. Third, she was known as Samantha Parrington again. This happened the same way as before, only this time the sorceress in question was Lorelei. Somehow, Brunhilde was okay with body swapping this time, and she wasn't bothered by it one bit. The fourth time around, she was known as Sion Bowen. After Valkyrie and the rest of the Defenders were turned to dust by Moondragon, Doctor Strange put Valkyrie into a temporary body until he could figure out what was going on. Finally, she was known as Annabelle Riggs. After regressing into the Doom Maiden of Rage, Valkyrie kills Annabelle, but she instantly regrets doing so. Valkyrie then goes to Valhalla and asks the Asgardian sorceress to bring Annabelle back, and so she was returned back to life. The only thing is, she has to share the body with Valkyrie. Number 7. Valkyrie's first appearance in the comics was during the Avengers, number 83 in 1970. You'll know this if you read the comics, but this was actually just an impersonation of Valkyrie, and it wasn't actually her. Her next appearance was in The Incredible Hulk, number 142 in 1971. However, this wasn't really her either. That Valkyrie was another trick from the Enchantress. The actual debut of the real Valkyrie didn't happen until The Defenders, number 4 in 1973, but even this appearance was a little bit weird. Number 8. There was one point where Thor went completely crazy, and he created an evil version of Valkyrie and then got possessed by it. After years of being the old Donald Blake, and having to share power with Beta Ray Bill, Thor caught a case of warrior madness. It turns out that the embodiment of his madness was an evil Valkyrie, which was eventually accidentally made into a real thing by Moondragon. Evil Valkyrie told the guards to attack both Beta Ray Bill and Sif, as well as to beat Ares to near death. Later, she convinced Thor that the entire Infinity Watch was their enemy. Eventually, Moondragon, Doctor Strange, Adam Warlock, and Thanos managed to trap evil Valkyrie back in Thor's mind. At this point, Odin and Thor were able to take her out for good. That's all for today though. What'd you think of today's video? Let us know in the comments below. But with that being said, this is the end of the video, so I'll see you in the next one.